this is the last chapter. It's part 3 of Lavender Tea, Kaemiu or Irumatsu, Kaemiu, if you don't know the ship name. I hope you enjoy me reading this, and I'll get on to the reading. Bye. Mew? Yes. Tell me something. I stared at the ceiling. The little amount of light that came from our desk lamp painted the room in reddish light. What the fuck should I tell you? The dog of the neighbors had a huge diarrhea last week, but I sincerely doubt you want to hear that. Oh yes, she was so right. I didn't want to hear nor need to hear that. No, I mean something about you. I'm human, I snorted. Greeting from Captain Obvious, he knew that already. Silence. What did you get for Kaemiu? I asked, changing the topic. Old porcelain cups. I'm pretty sure he liked them since he likes this antique stuff. I turned my head to look at my best friend. You look like something's bothering you. Am I? I don't know. I couldn't really tell if she just made a sarcastic remark or if she really meant it seriously. Do you think Kaemiu has a soulmate? Mew bursted out all of a sudden. Mew blurted out all of a sudden. Huh? Out of perplexed sound. I think so. Why are you asking? Mew jumped up with a frustrated expression on her face. In response, I turned around and grabbed one of the pillows in the bed we were on. God fucking damn it, she shouted and clenched her fists. Before we find out our soulmate, everyone probably already is in a relationship with theirs, and it fucking sucks. I don't want to be alone forever. Her sudden anger took me back a little. Until today, I never really thought of her as that kind of person who would be bothered about that. And if I asked her about wanting to find her soulmate, Mew will always act disinterested. But it seems like she actually cared more than she actually let on to. I'm sure we'll find out our significant other soon enough. No need to worry. After all, it's been destined by fate that you two meet. A loud thud echoed through the room as Mew slammed her hand against the wall. It isn't as easy as you're saying it is. You know, the system is a messed piece of shit. The whole situation infuriated me. Do you really think I wasn't taught about that? Great, now I was angry too. I grabbed Mew's shoulders and shook her violently. Her eyes widened, probably in shock over me snapping. You know, after all I've heard, I probably have already met my soulmate and I'll never know. As I saw her irritated stare, I knew that I probably just went too far. Our faces were only a few centimeters apart from each other. We both were breathing kind of heavily. I saw Mew as close as I ever did before. And she was beautiful for a girl. And if I was gay, I'd definitely be in love with her. I'm sorry, I quickly apologized and pulled back, actually being a little disappointed about the fact that I'd gotten away from her. A little smile made its way onto the blue-eyed girl's face as she looked out as she let out a pathetic laugh. It's fine. I guess we both aren't cool about this as we'd like to be. I guess that was true. Much more than I'd like to be. I'd like it to be. Sorry. You know, it's actually possible to fall in love with someone other than your soulmate. That left me confused. I heard stories like that before, but I always thought they were either made up or exceptions. And it seems like they weren't. How does that work? I thought you were destined to be with your soulmate. Mew swayed her and let herself fall backwards to land next to me on the bed. I looked down at her face. She seemed exhausted and her eyes were closed. don't know either, man, she answered. You already know the system is a mess piece of shit. It probably is. After all, I knew that it was possible that the only contact you ever had with your soulmate was just standing next to them on the train. At one point in your life, you were definitely going to meet your soulmate, and that unleashed the aging process. What that contact wasn't said. Only about 60% of all existing people actually got to really know their soulmate, and even less got together with them. You look older too, Mew. You probably both already met our soulmate and just don't know it yet. Well, fuck then, she said, unfocused, and stared at me. It was still raining, and the rain made everything outside the window look blurry. The pastel pink blanket wrapped around my legs gave the whole scene a comfortable vibe. The pastel pink blanket wrapped around my legs The whole bed was plastered with pillows you and I had to buy at one point. We both were suckers for fluffy and cute things, and when we saw something we liked, oh boy. Mew stood up. Where are you going? I asked her. I'm going to get some tea. Why? I want some too. She sighed. Fine, which one? We only have one kind of tea. Mew blinked it a few times in realization. Oh, yeah, right. I sat on the floor, leaning back against the kitchen counter, and was sipping my tea. Mew leaned against the white kitchen door. We were both drinking our lemon teas in silence. Without turning my head, I looked at the female in front of me. Everything of her was absolutely stunning. How could such a perfect human like her possibly be my best friend? Did I even deserve her? I didn't know. The blue of her eyes looked calming to me, even though I had no idea how I noticed that. She had softly tied her hair up in the back of her neck, and a few strands were falling forward. But she just pushed them behind her ear with her middle finger. The way she did it was kind of aesthetic, and I found myself to be absolutely amazed by it. Maybe it was just the way she did things, or maybe it was just her. Maybe she just fascinated me. Never before had a person managed to hypnotize me like this way. Something wrong? You asked. I hadn't even noticed when she looked at me. You were staring at me. I felt caught. Maybe. I don't know. The blonde chuckled sarcastically. You were staring at me. You were staring at me like I'm a neon pink monkey, which I'm not, because monkeys aren't as sexy as I am. She added dryly. That response made me smile. Another thing I liked about Mew, her humor, or rather how sarcastic and ironic it was. I never knew why I found her just being herself so appealing. It surprised me that I even saw her as appealing. I probably always thought that, but didn't realize it. Wait a minute. Was I just coming to terms with having a crush on her? The light of the lamp flickered and went out completely. You could put her cup on the counter. Well, shit. I placed my cup next to hers and quickly bound my hair tie around the handle. Blackout. I stated in one word, but me already went somewhere else. Where are the motherfucking candles, Kaede? I heard her shout from the room next door. How should I know? Well, duh, you were the last person who had them. And when would that have been? I knew she meant the red candles we got one from the grocery store, but I didn't remember when I should have done anything with them. You know, the red ones, the ones you put on the table when your family came over. I heard the vendor going through boxes in the supply closet in the bathroom and silently cursing. Taking my phone out, I walked over to her and turned on the flashlight. I don't see them, I told her. You started. Do you think I do? No, I don't. It can't be helped then. We're in the dark. I saw her straighten her back all of a sudden and took her hand. God knows why, maybe to calm her down. I took her hand to God knows why, maybe to calm her down. Or maybe because I wanted to take her hand. Is something wrong? You pulled me up and pushed me out of the bathroom to the bedroom window where we had at least a little bit of light coming from the streets. It was obvious she felt uncomfortable. She clenched her fists around the sleeve of my hoodie and looked up to me. Don't laugh, okay? I silently shook my head in awe over how pretty she was when you looked closely at her. Actually, she hesitated for a moment. I'm a little scared of the dark. I smirked. I know. Like, the tight grip around my arm loosened a bit. A few worthless stutters escaped Mew's mouth, and I felt my heart jump. Don't you think I notice how you always hurry to bed after you turn off the light? There it was, the knowledge about all the small things she did, and all the little habits she had, or how you hate to be the first one to enter a dark room. You know way too much about me, I chuckled. Of course I did. We have lived together for years. I didn't know why that came to my mind just now, but her name was pretty. I liked it. I loved to say it. Can we sit down? She asked, and took my hand. I felt like I was going to cry. Without any words, I pulled Mew down. I didn't trust my voice. She didn't say anything either, so we were just holding hands in silence while my heartbeat was 1,000 times faster than the usual speed. Suddenly, I felt Mew's hand on my shoulder, and I slightly panicked. It's silent, Mew whispered. That was true, and I didn't know if I liked it or not. I wasn't used to the silence at all. I don't know what to do, she said, and adjusted her hand. Same. I closed my eyes. Speaking theoretically. What if we were soulmates and we didn't realize it? I asked. It probably was a dumb idea. She would think I was weird. So you wondered about that too, huh? I mean, it's certainly a possibility. You can't deny that. Mew sighed. It would be cool if it was that easy. Not that I wouldn't like it to happen. She hastily added. What was that supposed to mean? I was confused. Mew took a deep breath. She seemed to be struggling internally. I've liked you for quite a while now. I guess since high school. I was absolutely breathless. Her words hit me without any preparation. I don't really know when I got feelings for you, she admitted. Her voice was shaking, and she clutched the blanket in nervousness. I felt like my heart was pounding out of my chest. How was I this lucky? How did someone as amazing as Mew like me? I felt like it was completely impossible. Mew putting her hand on my face and gently stroking my cheek my cheek with her fingers, and it made me realize I was crying, just as hard as she was. Somehow I found the courage to hug her, and from there on there was nothing to go back. I let everything out. All the feelings I had bottled up for so long that I hadn't even realized myself. All that time I didn't realize my admiration towards her were romantic feelings. I remember feeling like I had to like someone, and tried to convince myself I liked Shuichi. Thinking about it, I always thought that every little thing about Miu's appearance was absolutely beautiful. Heck, just her doing a hair flip resulted in me being dumbstruck for what I what I felt like for what felt like hours. I wanted to run my hands through her hair for hours. I wanted to look at her for as long as I could. The warmth of her next to me made my heart skip a beat. So this was how love felt. And my dumbass was always searching for this feeling in a boy when it had been there for years. Just not for a person I was expecting. I had always been a person to adapt, but that adapts fast, so I wasn't really surprised that I got along with the fact of being in love with someone so well. Mew pulled away from me. Her face was just inches apart from mine. "Can I?" she whispered. I just nodded. Of course she could. It wasn't like I was going to deny that I'd wanted it for years. Seconds later, her lips were on mine, and it felt so right. You definitely wasn't the first person I had kissed, but she definitely was the first person to give me this feeling. The fuzzy feeling that took over my body when I was with her. The warmth that clouded my mind. Kinda like lavender tea. Holy shit. I was so fucking in love, and I didn't regret it. So that was last bit of the last chapter of Lavender Tea. I hope you liked it, and obviously, as you could tell in the recording, I'm kind of losing my voice, so it might sound, my voice might sound a little weird. I'm definitely gonna keep on uploading, like, at least every day or two, but, like, my voice is just getting really sore. I don't really talk that much, but I hope you like this little series I did. Again, go support the creator of this wonderful, amazing story, please. The link is in the description. I hope you have a great night, day, or afternoon. Remember to drink some water and eat something today. You are loved, you are cared for, and I am proud of you. And I give you a hug of good luck for your day, for the days on. Bye.